All right, so the recording is on. All right, here we go. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for showing up. Showing up is a lot of times the hardest thing for people to do, right? You think that you want to do something, and then when it comes down to it, it's like, oh my God, wait, I actually got to like do a lot of sacrificing to get there, you know? It's not just going to happen, right? So that's a big part of this game called acting. Um, I read everybody's submission, so I do know.
Sorry about that, sir. I didn't mean to leave.
No problem, no problem. I read everybody's thing, so in order for me to help you out the best, stay seated, right? Look forward into the camera so I can see you guys. Try not to move around too much because that becomes a distraction, you know? Try not to make any loud noises, just basic stuff so that we don't interrupt each other as we're going. If you are in a car, I respect your showing up, but just please don't drive. And that's only because I don't want you to drive and be distracted, while we're talking, because it gets kind of deep and we could hit something that you've been really trying to figure out. And then all of a sudden, I don't even want to talk about it. I want to talk it into existence, but just be careful, stay where you're at, suck it up for the hour. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to do something that with you guys tonight that I've been trying to figure out, honest to God, I've been an actor for, my God, well, Jim, you've probably been an actor longer than I have, but probably like over, almost 25 years now or more, but I've had the acting studio for about 14 years. So I've constantly been trying to refine and figure out how to help people that come to me, right? And I think over the last 14 years, we've been able to really do that in a huge way. A lot of people have gotten jobs and have moved on into like major places in Hollywood, And it's interesting because not only acting, but also like producing and directing and, crew and, you name it, right? Art directors and all that stuff. So there's kind of an interference that's coming out of somebody's thing. We got to somehow stop that. So does anybody know if their sound is like echoing or something? I'm going to try to figure it out.
I have a ceiling fan on.
Let me see. Wait. Okay. I'm just looking around to see like what's going on. All right. I'll mute you because I see a ceiling fan. Yeah. Like if you're moving around, that's going to create sound. So you have to stay still. I know it's hard, but acting on camera sometimes is about being very still, So, all right. So what prompted this, and why am I even calling this like the only way to, real way to get a speaking role in Philadelphia? It might have piqued your interest, Jim's shaking his head like, yeah. So in the last couple weeks, I was in negotiations to help cast a major film, like an $8 million film. And in the course of that, and I have my studio, Tammy, you're in the studio. I don't know. Yeah, you were studying with me, and some of you guys have studied with me. And we have that, right? We have ongoing classes and things like that. But I've been trying to figure out how to kind of refine it and make it better and get a quicker result for everybody. And as I was talking to all the casting directors, as I was in the middle of possibly doing this big job, Diane Heary in Philly, who's literally like the biggest casting director in Philadelphia. There's someone else, Kathy Wickline. And as I talked to her, I realized she's actually not doing really much principal casting anymore. She's focusing more on commercials and industrials. And then I was talking in New Jersey to Stephanie Ryan at they're the major casting company in New Jersey. And then I was talking eventually to somebody in New York who cast Sex and the City and Rocky V. And what I learned most, especially, was when I was talking to Diane, because we were talking about, getting 85 people a set, from New York to Red Bank, New Jersey. And she kept on saying, as the crow flies. Did anybody ever hear that saying, as the crow flies? And what does it mean? Anybody, just blurt it out. You might have to unmute yourself.
kind of just how the flow goes?
No,
No? Okay, I was thinking like it kind
yeah.
of, like it goes with the flow. It follows the people.
no, it's not that.
Okay.
Who else has an idea of what that saying means? As the crow flies. Diane kept saying it. I was like, what the heck? What the hell is she talking about? As the crow flies, but she was just like talking really fast because we needed a lot of information in a short amount of time. So does anybody know what that saying means?
Dave, I'm making an educated guess here, but maybe it's kind of where the money goes, where the business is at in Philly.
Not a bad, you're on target, Ken. You're on target, bro.
I don't know if
the
this is
crow
cheating.
flies- As the crow flies, this is what it means. It means the most direct route. Do you guys understand that? When a crow flies, it literally, like if it goes to somewhere that it's going, it just kind of has a tendency, they notice, to go the most direct route. Planes don't do that. Cars don't do that. You don't even do that when you go over to your friend's house. You know, you go like, you walk over here, you walk over there. You don't typically go to the most direct route, right? Now, guess what? That's pretty much how life works in the world of advertising too. People are always trying to take you all over the place, right? Well, come over here, then I can sell you $1,000 thing here. Oh, then go over here, I'll sell you a $500 thing there. Go over here, go over there, right? And they get you to the point where sometimes you're freaking confused. And then you're really kind of susceptible to like whatever they say next because you're so confused, you don't know what the hell to do. And I don't know about you guys, Jim and Kent, some of you guys have been acting for a while. When I first started acting, I didn't know what the hell to do. I was going everywhere and anywhere. But what was happening was I was expending a lot of my personal time and a lot of my money, a lot of my energy, right? And those things are actually the most important things that you have in the beginning. You just have to be smart with the way you use them. Luckily, if you have someone who's a family member that's in the business, they're going to guide you in the most direct route. They might introduce you to somebody, you know what I'm saying? And you can't get any more direct than that. That's the way to go, right? But unfortunately, if you don't have that sweet little hookup, right, you got to kind of fend for yourself and figure stuff out. So when she was saying that, it kind of made like the whole time now for 14 years, I've been trying to figure out how do I refine? How do I make it better? How do I help people more? Because obviously if I get you guys a better result faster, you're going to go around and be like, Bernard's the best. He helped me, you know? And we have a lot of that. We have a lot of people that have said that, right? I don't know if some of you looked on the website, but these are real people, you know, they're real people. And one of them I'll talk about later tonight. It's like in the last 2 days, it's insane what just happened to him, but I'll let you know the good news a little bit later. But so what I'm trying to say to you is like, I really put my head down and I was like, what the hell is the most direct route to help people so that you're not wasting time, that you have the support that you need, that you're getting the real deal. Cause you know how many times I get a question from actors, is this a scam, Bernard? Pretty much every week. Someone's like, is this a scam? And this is a scam. And the truth is, yes, it's a freaking scam. Yes, that's the truth. I used to be like, nah, they're doing it their way, you know? And I'm like, you know, over here trying to run everything properly. And then I realized I was like, I'm tired of answering that question. Yes, it's a freaking scam. If they tell you and they advertise and say to you that they're going to help you get an audition for something, and then they invite you to come in and then have a conversation with you, that's a scam. That's not the way it works at all. Nobody legit does it that way. No agency that works, an agency that's legit, they have you submit to them and then they're usually booked with talent. They're not trying to take anybody on, they're trying to get rid of people. I learned that when I was in a way back when from one of my friends in LA who buys and sells celebrities. And I was young and he was one of my mentors and he was explaining to me, Bernard, I talked to all the major agencies in LA and they're trying to get rid of people. I was like, what are you talking about, Jack? He's like, yeah, they're trying to get rid of people. Agencies aren't trying to bring people on. The only reason they're trying to bring you on is if you have something they can sell. Okay. So you know the truth, right? So right there, that took me like, 10 years to get that out of somebody because most people aren't just going to tell you that because it kind of sounds depressing when you hear it, but there's ways around that. There's ways to make this work for yourself. We just have to do it the most direct route. Okay. So I thought, and I realized after talking to Diane, I'm like, wait a minute. Diane is the biggest casting director in the city of Philadelphia. She casts all the major films. She's a gatekeeper. I just talked to Kathy. She's not really doing principal work anymore. Mike Lemon just passed away, God rest his soul. Yeah. So the energy is going to go one place.
Mike Lemon was the Santa Claus for actors in Philadelphia. That's all I gotta say. He
He
used to be
sure
much
was,
of Santa
Dan.
Claus.
He was a sweet
Oh,
man.
that's
He
a
had
shame.
such a big heart. He had such
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
heart.
He
You
was a
have to give
sweet
it up
man.
to Mike Lemon.
He was a sweet man, and he gave me my start. I interned there. I was volunteering at the Philadelphia Film Festival, and I went there because it was a venue, and I said, what can I do to study? And he's like, well, you could do this, do that. And I was like, I'd love to be in the office so that I could see what it's all about. And I was ended up getting an internship, but God bless him. But yeah,
When did he
it's-
pass away? Real quick, I'm sorry, Bernard.
like a
when did
week
it
and a
happen?
half ago, week and a half
Oh.
ago. Yeah, very. So
Oh.
so you realize like all this, like what we're talking about right now, it's all kind of like naturally, organically kind of come together to this point. So I'm like, okay, well, what does Diane want? What does Diane want? Well, guess what? That's the class tonight, everybody. Let me show you what she wants, because this is what you need to know. All right. And some of you already know this, and I'm also almost willing to bet that you maybe did not do this step yet, but this is like your first step. So can everybody see my screen? Okay. Now,
Yeah.
this is Diane Harry's website. These are called title cards. These are all the movies that she cast. Hustle is the most recent big film that, no, actually like the second most recent. Knock at the Cabin by M. Night Shyamalan. That's like the most recent in Philly, but Hustle was the second most recent. All right. Now, make sure you remember that, because that's going to come up later on in our call. But what you guys need to do, you're not producers, you're actors, right? You got to go to 4 actors. Now, can you all see this on your screen? You may have to kind of like, make it bigger. I'm just trying to figure out how I can make it bigger, but this is about as big as it's going to get, it seems. Can you read this at all?
I can't read it, but I've already signed up on the website. So
Okay, good, Brianna. Good. Is it Brianna or Brianna?
it's Brianna.
Brianna. Okay, Brianna, good. So here's the first thing that Diane says. Now, let me explain this to you, because let me say one thing. Diane is not going to write on her website, hey, send me a self-tape audition video, but make sure it doesn't suck. She's not going to say that, right? Because that would be like, it's a bad look, right? But what she is going to say is she's going to say, your video is 3 minutes, make it your performance best, all right? So if you can see where it says just some simple guidelines, performance best, all right? Now, what does performance best mean? Well, does anybody know how music albums come into being, right? Artists go into a studio, they record it. They might record it 100 times till they get something that is good. And then they have the producer working with them, right, to make it good. And then they put that out there. A lot of people in this step, they think that because she's saying, okay, give me a 3 minute or less and just submit it, that they can pretty much just like submit whatever into her. And like that will be the make or break if they get them called in or not. But I'm sure the veteran actors here like can tell you that it just doesn't work that way. There's got to be something going on, right? You got to be good inside your self-tape audition. 3 minutes is a lot of time. And the fact that she's going to actually really look at it, I doubt she's even looking at the 3 minutes. Right. Jim's shaking his head. No, but do you understand? Like, it's got to be good. Like, it's got to be good, right? That's why people go to acting classes, to get good so that they can stick out and get, and like whatever. Some people have no idea about it and they start from zero. I've had people in the studio like that. Some people are pretty good in front of people and they're very confident, but I got to work with them on stuff, right? It's like, we all have our different thing. It's not like, you have to come in and do what everybody else does. Nobody's saying that, but you have to actually look at this from the standpoint like a recording artist. you go into the studio and you want to get performance best, because when you submit that to her, it's not like you're going to keep submitting over and over to her. You're going to give her something and she's going to have an impression when she sees you. And from that impression, if it's a good impression, you will light up in her mind and she'll be like, okay, they might be good for this, right? And that's what you want to happen. But how are you going to stick out? How are you going to set yourself apart? Well, there's a lot of other things that she has here, like make sure it's a close-up, make sure it's an MP4 format. If you're using a smartphone, make sure you do your slate, make sure you do your full body shot, right? Make sure that you have your name, phone number, email address. She says it doesn't really have to be produced professionally. And I agree, it doesn't have to be produced professionally, but you better not be sending in a video where you're not well lit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain elements to this that she's not going to tell you, you got to go out and produce it. But don't you think like if you actually put some effort into producing it in a good way, that's going to set you apart? Okay. So after I went over this and I thought about like, how could I most effectively help people? Because what you really want is you want to know how to get onto a major set. I'm thinking that I'm right there, right? Like your end goal is going to be you acting on a professional film set, getting paid, right? So what if we just focus all of our energy on that goal? Some of you in a couple of weeks, you're so motivated that you're going to have your 3 minutes. It's going to be badass. You're going to film it. It's going to look good. You're going to submit it. And she's going to be like, whoa, wow, and send you an email and be like, thank you for your submission, right? Some of you, it might take longer. Some of you are going to do it and you're going to get your 3 minutes. And then you're going to realize once you have some professional critique, it sucks. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's not going to be because like Bernard is the end all be all when it comes to like critiquing acting. You're going to know inside your own like soul. You're going to be like, you know what? I think I could do better than this. I think that there's something more. Like when I look out there and I'm trying to really do this for real, there's something more I could give. There's something more I could do, right? And you're going to have that honest conversation with yourself. Okay. So the bottom line that I realized was like, if we shoot for the stars with this 3 minute and we submit it to the gatekeeper, to the most major things in Philly, New York, Jersey, right? Anything that comes below that, it will make it easier on you. Like it'll make it easier to get a student film if you don't have any acting experience at all. It'll make it easier on you if you are just completely brand new, because you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself if you decide to figure this out, because you're like, okay, I'm going to submit me acting to the gatekeeper of big roles in the city of Philadelphia. So it's a lot, the stakes are higher for you at this point, and it's exciting at that point because something could happen. And guess what? The reality is one of my students, something big did happen. And I'm going to, again, I'll tell you all about that towards the end, because that's, and I'll show you what's happening for him. But is this making sense so far to everybody? Is it making sense? One of the things that I've learned is that, your focus is really one of the most important things. And a lot of things I've seen with beginning actors is their focus is all over the place. I would rather you focus on getting a killer 3 minute self-tape audition submitted to the biggest casting director in Philadelphia, who actually has the ability to decide whether or not to push you forward or not, before getting yourself all ready for somebody else who's just trying to start. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Right? Because sometimes, unfortunately, you might be a little bit better than those people that are doing that project. But since you're an actor, you want to work. So you go into that job and you're like, oh, well, this is cool, but wait a minute, it's actually not that cool. What the hell's going on here? Right? But then it's too late. They've kind of taken a little bit more of your energy than you're giving. All right. But I figured with this approach, we go straight to the top. We make sure it's good. you can do this on your own, right? You can, now that everybody knows this, most of you already, some of you know, how many people know that that's the way to be considered in Philadelphia? Just raise your hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. How many people have done that submission to Diane Harry? Raise your hand. Now, how about, are you serious? Nobody? Isn't that amazing though? We
Not in
know
years,
what?
not in years.
9 years, right? And you have to update it, man. If you didn't get called in like 3 or 4 months, I have a strategy for that, because you don't want to bother the crap out of her, right? You don't want to keep doing it like you're needy, but you want to. There's something that you want to do. Now, ideally, if you submit and then you get better and you submit again, she's going to see that you got better. And she'll admire you because she'll be like, this person's working hard. But not if you submit like every week. She'll be like, this person's annoying. Let's block their email, right? So it's interesting to me. And I had no idea how. I figured a couple people would have went through this step, and I would just say to you, hey, let me help you. If you haven't been called in, I'll help you, get further with her, right? But nobody's done it. So that shows you like where your focus is, right? If you really want to act and get paid to be on a major set, you need to know what you need to do to get there the most direct route, as the crow flies. That came out of her mouth, right? And everything else becomes irrelevant. Does everybody understand that? Everything else is like subsidiary. You need to have your goal as like, I need to get my 3 minutes. I needed to get it to Diane, proper format. Once you have that, everything else, if your friend Joe Bob is like, hey, I got this friend over here that just got 50 grand, we're going to produce a movie. It's like, all you need to do is like, here, check out my reel, 3 minutes. That's it. It's done. You're not doing anything. You don't need to do anything extra. You've already got your 3 minutes solid, and it's of a quality that there's nothing like higher than that, to be honest with you. If we were in LA or New York, it would be a completely different conversation. But in the city of Philadelphia and New Jersey, there's only 2 people making those type of decisions. And I'm friends with both of them. And I'm telling you from their mouths, right? Like what's going down. Now, that's one thing for me to say, but obviously I have to prove that to you all. So I will prove that to you all. I'll show you what's been going down, with one of my students in regards to this. But so far, questions, guys. Who has a question right now? Like, are they kind of like, what? I didn't never knew that. That's interesting to me. Or like, I've been thinking about doing that. Kent?
What about the independent film group?
So, yeah, independent film is amazing, but you understand, like, shoot for the stars, land on the moon. If you go here with your energy and you get together a 3-minute audition, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Anything else, right?
right.
You're gonna just have that 3 minutes. So if you enter, what you need to do is you need to start being selective with these independent filmmakers, because a lot of them are going to start to jive talk and talk. Oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And it's like, they really don't have any money. They barely have any money. They're not going to pay you. They're just going to talk about it. And you're going to be like, ooh, that would be great if I did that role. And you'll get into your actor head like we all do. And you'll get a little bit like, it'll seem a little bit better than what it is. You've been on both sides of that. Yeah. And dude, I understand. And I get why they do it. I'm friends with a lot of producers too. And it's producing, you gotta, how do we do it for the least amount of money? So imagine where you're at though. You're in Philly, people are learning in Philadelphia. New York and LA, there's more people around in the business. So it's a different type of person that's in those markets. They're really like, sometimes we think we're like, we're pretty badass, but man, you go to LA or New York, you'd be surprised. Some of these people are like, you're like, I can't, it's insane. Are you even human? You know what I'm saying? Like how smart they are and talented they are and what they're doing to get this to work. But for you here in the city of Philly, right? Philadelphia, I feel very strongly, as you hear it in my voice, that this is probably one of the most effective, if not the most effective way to get you going. All right. to get you to you submit it. And look, it better be good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it better be good because you need to stick out. I'm imagining there's people submitting right now as we're speaking to her, and she's looking at them, and she's never going to tell you, but she's probably deleting some of them and filing away some of them, right? So my goal and intention, like I created, you know, a new kind of program at the studio, and it's focused solely on helping people get this done. The outcome is very specific. It takes you from, you know, preparing your material to getting to pressing submit, but it has to be done very specifically. It's got to follow all the requests that she has. I mean, down to the point where if you get your headshot and she asks, like, you know, you have your name on it in, you know, whatever, like you got to have your name on it, your first and last name, and you have to say photo, PHOTO, because that's what she has on the website. You don't want to give her any reason to look at you and be like, nah, he can't follow directions, she can't follow directions. Because that's what they do. Casting directors are looking for people that are like, they would rather work with somebody less talented who can follow directions. Jim?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, just one thing, absolutely. The one thing I wanted to say is I've had an actor demo reel for a number of years. So it's just that this is just something with Diane. I just didn't know, I hadn't seen this. You know, I think I told you earlier why I've been away from it from a little bit, but I have had my demo reel together on my website, on my acting and production page of my website. So
Yeah.
it's been up there, and I have like little, it's been really helpful with that because I've had a lot, especially with Mr. Kent Darden here. He was producing a movie that I had a really great scene in. So I want to give kudos to this guy because I still have it on my demo reel. It's a really, really good scene. So when he talked about being on both sides, he's very good at that as well. And so, yeah, I have had one. I just haven't, I didn't know that that's something that she wanted. So when I'm ready to get back into the mix, I mean, I've had it, and you know, I know she knows me well. I've been there but like you said, having something to just say, hey, here's my highlights.
So
That's something I do have.
Well, here's the thing. I think you got to be strategic about it, Jim. So I know you have a reel, but the chances are it may not be as fresh, right? Some of the stuff in your reel might be from some years ago. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So my idea with it for everybody is that I think how we should approach it is do maybe, because she says 3 minutes, maybe a minute and a half of you doing something live as a monologue, which is clearly in there. She's like, you could do a monologue or a scene, whatever. And if you have a reel, I would say do a minute and a half of the reel, because you got to remember, you know, again, it's going back to like, just because we have these things or whatever, we still have to stick out. We still have to kind of ring a new like bell in somebody's head and be like, hey, look, here I am, right? So you have to be strategic about it. And one of the things I found, because that's one of the biggest things, actors are like, well, what should I do? You know, you got to find really compelling, powerful material that you're doing very well, right? And that's one of the first steps that I would say is actually finding and preparing a really good 3 minutes. Just because it's 3 minutes doesn't mean that it's actually compelling and that good, right? We have to make sure that it's got some power to it. So this is a strategic approach, and yeah, it's work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this is the real deal. Like you ain't gonna, this is not even me. I'm not trying to sell you on an acting class. I'm showing you what you have to do to get working in Philadelphia, period. What I'm offering you is helping you to do that. That's all.
So basically,
Because
what
I
you're offering,
realized- What's that?
basically what you're offering is also how to do the business side.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to the business side of it, Ken. There's a lot to it, and I'll get into that. That's a different side of the equation. But I'll show you what I'm offering you if you guys are interested to see. So does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, my dear. Bridget, go ahead.
Oh, yes, hello. I'm new to this, so I'm
Yeah.
interested in voiceover. Like, does she do voiceover too? Like cartoons and stuff?
She does
Yeah.
cast voiceover. Yeah, she does.
Okay.
So, but like I would tell you, because I remember that, Bridget, when you wrote that, one of the things about, working with your voice is like, it's okay also to understand the elements of acting because that helps your
Yeah.
voice. You do have a very distinct voice. I hear your voice, right? So like, it seems to me like it's marketable, right? Now, there's also very specific, again, focus for voice, right?
Mhm.
You see, I have the Philadelphia Acting Studio. I'm not voice production studio, right? However, I do have a friend that does that in New York, and there's a way that you can try that out. So if you're interested in that,
Yes.
I can get that to you, but that's not what this call is about tonight. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. But I certainly will help you. Certainly will help you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So does anybody have a question about tonight? Yes. Jackie.
Hi. I actually had a question about like when applying for, because you had said when you apply for acting roles that they could be scams. I guess I want to know like what those signs are to look out for, because there was one role that I tried to audition for, but they had said they wanted all this money up front, and it just, I was getting a lot of
Everything.
red flags. So
Jackie, I'm in California right now. Philadelphia is like, it's like, I'm just trying to give you like an idea of how small it is in the entertainment community. It's like an ant versus a whale. Anything that is not what I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this for 14 years. I've been an actor. I've been in SAG for, I've been lead roles. I've been, pretty much everything you can imagine, hosting, modeling, commercials, plays, everything in Philadelphia, New York, and some in LA. Everything is a scam.
yeah.
I'm telling you, tonight is focused on one thing and one thing only, the gatekeeper to major movies in Philadelphia. Anybody else is like what they call the thing that hangs underneath a shark and like eats the food that it doesn't eat. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Nobody is ever going to say to you, hey, get this role here, give me all this money. That does not the way it works. It's a freaking scam. And that's-
Anytime they ask you, I'm sorry, he's right. Anytime if somebody asks you for money up front, it's a scam. The only time the agent gets you work that's when they get paid. They get a percentage. That's it. You pay nothing up front.
There's 3
Okay.
SAG franchise agencies in Philadelphia. 3.
Yeah.
That's it. Philly is a super small market. However, what are you going to do? Are you guys, who's going to move to LA tomorrow or New York or Atlanta tomorrow? Anybody? Raise your hand. And who's going to wait around until they move to start? Or are they just going to sit there and think about the rest of their life? So this is very focused to where you're at right now. Okay. You're there. How do you make a move where you're at? You have to be efficient. You have to be strategic. You do have to trust. Hopefully I'm going to gain your trust by the end of the call. I'm going to show you some things. All right. And hopefully you will trust that I'm telling you the truth. But yeah, Jackie, it's a good question. I would say everything is a scam. Now, when I say that, it makes me sound like I'm negative. No, it's not. I'm just a little frustrated with all these people trying to market to you guys in so many different ways that you're so confused that you keep asking that question over and over again. There's only two major casting directors. One of them that I talked to last week has now from her home only focusing on commercials and industrials, right? The other one is Diane Heary, and I just showed you her website. And she is asking if you want to be considered for principal work, which is speaking, right? That's what principal means, like a speaking role, that you submit a 3-minute self-tape audition. And what I'm telling you is that does not mean that you just set your camera up and say, okay, hey, Diane, how you doing? I'm Bernard. And like, that's not what it is, because she's going to press delete, but she's not going to write that on her website because she would look like a jerk. Just like I can't, I like this, I talk to I've worked with thousands of actors at this point. Just because someone's like, out of their mind, I'm not going to necessarily say that. I've kicked people off of calls before because they were like driving in their car or something, and I just dropped them and they got mad, but that was for their own safety. But if someone's like talking, I'm not going to fight with you in front of a bunch of other people. You know what I'm saying? I'll just take my attention off you and then hopefully you go away. That's all I can do, right? So nobody's going to really, promote that on their website and be like, you better be good. But she does. She says it's got to be your performance best. Okay. So do you guys want to see what I have for you? Are you ready for that? I can show it to you. Okay, does anybody else have a question or need some clarity though? They want a little clarity before we move forward? Tolupe?
I think
Good
Sarah
question.
Wedge had a question. Sarah had a question.
Yeah, I
Yes.
just have a really quick question about like the quality of the film.
Yeah,
How are we talking like you're taking it on your iPhone or having someone with a really nice camera take this for you?
iPhone is fine. Really
Okay.
nice camera is better. Look, one of my clients is Jeff Logan. He's in the 4th season of Double Cross. He's a lead actor. He gets paid a lot of money because I know, because my attorney, who was Richard Pryor's attorney, I brought my attorney in. He's a big LA attorney, and we helped him negotiate his 4th season. So he's getting paid a lot, like 6 figures for like 10 days, right? So he has a specific camera because when we do auditions for like network or big major movies with movie stars in them, you know, he wants it to look good. So the answer to you, Sarah, is yeah. I mean, if you got a cool like Sony DSLR, whatever the hell it is, right? That's great. It's going to make you look better, right?
Right.
But can you do this with an iPhone? Yes, you can.
Gotcha. Okay.
But again, the other level of this is like, I'm going to look at it too, you know, if you do want my help, and I'm going to make sure that it is of a certain quality, right? It's not going to need to be Hollywood, like lighting quality, but it's just got to be good. We need to see your face, your emotions. Like it needs to, you know, there can't be like crazy cats running around the background. I love cats. I love cats. I was just in a conversation last night with the girl that I'm dating, and she has a cat, and I love cats. Cats are great, right? I'm just saying, cats even come on our classes sometimes, but it just has to be a certain look. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to have, it's in this business, it's all about like an impression, right? Like, or when someone takes a first impression of you, it's got to be pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to be pretty good, because you're trying to like get around all this other noise out there. All right. So now the same thing goes for headshots, because people are like, what about headshots? And I'll be like, look, I can get you to New York. One of the best photographers in New York, who is, you know, Jimmy Fallon's photographer for 4 years, all this, but you don't need to go there yet, because that's going to cost you like $600, right? I can get you to the best photographer in Philly for $250, and he does everybody, and it's a quality job, and he's a nice guy, you know, like, so it's like, it depends on like where you're at. You got to go for the most that you possibly can, but don't be worried if like the light cracks a little bit, you know, on it or something. All right. Okay. Good question though. Kent?
So how much is too quality with this 3-man thing? I mean, I've done it before, but I don't want to overdo it. I don't want
There's nothing that's like, I mean, I don't think you could have over quality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what do you even mean by that? You know, like you look too good. Like the
I mean, like
cameras break, they crack.
Yeah, I
like,
know. It's just like, you want to look professional, but you want to try to be like Steven Spielberg with it either. But I mean, I'd rather go over than under quality. That's
look, you remember that movie, The Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
You know how like it wasn't really that great of a quality or something, right? But it actually like it was good.
That was
It's
marketing.
more about the content, in my opinion. Now, if I'm like going out, right, and I am who I am, right, I care more about my character, not if I have a ripped shirt and I'm running around, right? But if I had my optimum when I go out and be myself, I would like to have a nice iron shirt because I look better, right? So there's certain like non-negotiables, Kent, like lighting and sound and background, lighting, sound, and background, and also formatting and things of that nature. And that's the type of stuff like, you know, I want to help you guys with to make sure it's good, so that when she sees it, there's not much disparity between what she's used to, right? And she's not looking at you like, well, it was good, but they look like it could have been a fluke or something. You know what I'm saying? We want to give her every reason to think about you and call you in. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I don't think it can be overproduced, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. It's better to go over than go under.
All right, good question. How about anybody else who hasn't spoke yet? I also have some questions that I prepared for you guys, just in case you didn't have a question. Tolupe, am I saying your name right?
It's Tolupe. I had
Tolupe.
written my question in the box. It was just that I plan on moving to LA this year and was saying like, should I be focused on like trying to break into the market in Cali or
When are
Philly?
you moving to Cali, T?
Absolutely November, but it could be sooner than November, depending on the apartment.
That's a whole quarter in business terms. You got to get going. Because what I'm going to tell you now, like it's going to be an exact reason why you should start now. All right. Because one of our students, like he's up for a national commercial in Vancouver, and that's nowhere near LA or whatever, because they do a lot of filming in Vancouver. And the reality is anybody that comes to Philly that's in big productions is basically coming from LA, the major players, right? And some from New York, and then the subsidiary people that want to live around Philly, like M. Night Shyamalan and his cinematographer, what's his name? The guy, you know what I'm talking about, right? He lives in Delaware.
John Rusk.
John Rusk. Yeah, John Rusk. He's always, he's local. There's a few people that are local. David Morse is local. I've coached what's his name's daughter, Terrence Howard. I've coached his daughter. He sometimes comes in and out of like near Plymouth Meeting, because he's a house there. So there's very few players that are coming in and out of Philly that are like doing business there. However, when they do come, like they can take you with them. You know what I'm saying? So why not get going so that you could get on to something, and then they're like, oh yeah, we'll see you in LA in a month. You see what I mean? Like, don't look for reasons why you should pause your life. Look for reasons why you should accelerate your life. that just inspired me. Like, okay, that's okay. So anybody else need clarity or anything about what's going on so far? Do you understand like what I'm showing you and teaching you here, right? Okay. So
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
So as far as when you're making the 3-minute self-tape, how do you find the content to pretty much like portray?
There we go. Beautiful, Miles. You're going to segue us beautifully into what I have for you. Okay. So here's the answer. All right. You guys can see the share, right? Can somebody verbally tell me that they can see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I can.
All right. So what you're asking, man, is preparing, right? So let me go through a first couple little bits of this information, and then I will get to preparing where you find your 3 minutes. Okay, Miles, deal?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So the first thing is, what I put together for this specific focus here is what's called the on-camera self-tape audition coaching program, right? It's literally exactly what she's asking for. She wants an on-camera self-tape audition. All right. Who's it for? You want to act, you don't know the right place to start. You brought that up already, Jackie, right? Is this a scam? Where do I start? Right? I did this. I was driving all over to like freaking Virginia, doing some stupid modeling convention for 500, but it was like ridiculous, right? I just wanted to do it. These ladies had me walking around in Philly. They don't know what the hell they were doing, right? They don't know what it's a bunch of nonsense, really. So the other thing is you want to act and you don't want to waste your valuable time and money. Well, I don't think anybody in their right mind wants to waste their valuable time and money on this planet, right? Last one, you're looking for the fastest, most effective way to get considered for real speaking roles and real professional productions. Look, when she said those words, as the crows fly, it was so weird. I never heard that then I realized it had to be divine timing, because I think this is what we're all looking for, the fastest, most effective way to get considered for real speaking roles and real professional productions, because why the hell else would we even be an actor? Some of us are going to be okay being in like theater, like what's it called? Community theater. I love it. I've done it. I've done community theater. It's fun, right? But some of us are like, you know what? I want to get paid and work on a real film. Like, maybe Hustle or maybe M. Night Shyamalan's film. I want to have a little role in that, right? And if that's you, then this is what we're talking about. Who's it not for? Lazy people that can't listen and follow directions, or you think that just because you want to act, this is a really important, just because you want it so bad. Like, did you ever hear anybody? They're like, I just want it so bad. I just want it so bad. That you're actually good at auditioning. That just because you really want it, that once you put yourself on tape, that everybody will really want what you put on tape. Do you understand? That's not how it works. But nobody's really going to ever say that because there's 1% of people in the world that they're actually pretty damn good the first time out of the gate, believe it or not. So we can never say never, but really most of that is egocentrism, where like somebody feels just because they want it so much that like, okay, it's like they're going to get it, right? So that's what this is not for. Any of the stuff that I do, I've had people in and out of the studio that were egocentric. Yeah, it happens, right? But most of the people, I mean, pretty much everybody in our studio is super cool, very supportive of each other and kicking ass. So here are the elements that she has inside her request to everybody, right? The first thing is, she says, you know, this is to be considered for principal work. Well, what is principal work? Most of you understand what that is. It's speaking. That could be 1 line, 2 lines, whatever, right? Versus non-speaking, which is what's called background or extra, okay? Now, my idea now, I've done extra work. Many of you guys have. My idea though is you want to get out of extra work as soon as you can, if you have bigger aspirations. If you love extra work, then God bless you, do it. And you have a full-time job and you're like, I just love being on the set and being around. I know plenty of people like that. There's nothing wrong with it. But if what you want is a speaking role, don't get too caught up in extra work. I want you to put all your focus and energy on principal work. All right? All your focus and energy. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and been like, oh, I was on this, I was on that, but I was just an extra. And I really want to get a speaking role, Bernard. And I'm like, well, guess what? You need to turn that off, the extra part of you, the background part of you, and not be okay with that anymore. And what you have to turn on is, I want a speaking role. And that's where you got to put all your focus, because you can't focus on 2 things at once. You got to focus on one thing and do it at an excellent level. And that's how it manifests. All right. So back to Miles' question, preparing, right? Well, how do you prepare? How do you find 3 minutes that's good? Well, there's a way to do that, you know? And guess what? It's not easy. It's not like I just go on like monologues.com and I get whatever I see, because think about that. What are you putting out? 5 minutes just to find something? No, what I would want you to do, and this is why I have this all in one night on Monday nights, we're going to find something powerful. It may not be the first, second, third thing that you pick that's powerful. People want to know, why am I not getting called? Why does my friend work? Why do I not work? Because when you work, everybody knows it's good. You're going to feel it. We're going to feel it. It's obvious that it's pretty damn good, but you got to be willing to do the work to get to that. That doesn't just automatically come to you just because you say, oh, I'm ready to film my monologue. You need to go in there and you need to look at some really powerful material. You need to understand a broader sense of like, well, what's the most critically acclaimed stuff out there? You don't have to like everything, because art is very subjective. We all have our own likes and genres that we prefer, but you have to really understand, like, you know, I'm going to present myself to her, and these are her words. How do you see yourself, how you see yourself as a professional, and where you see yourself in the marketplace? The more focused and certain you are on that, the more she can help you. Does everybody understand that? If you know specifically, like I remember, you know, Tom Cruise, everybody knows Tom Cruise. Way back in the day, it was The Outsiders. Francis Ford Coppola was casting that in a big like warehouse in LA. Every major actor in the town was there. And Tom Cruise read it, and he had them all audition in front of everybody. So everybody got to see each other audition. Tom Cruise started reading and he was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. And he walked out and it was done. And Francis was like, thank you, Tom, bye. Tom Cruise is a big star, probably one of the most highly paid movie stars that we know. He knew what he was and how he was entering in. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. She's asking you. These are her words. I wrote her words here. These are her words. How you see yourself as a professional and where you see yourself. Why is that? That's because when you transmit that energy is powerful. If you are somebody that sends an audition in and you're like, did I do okay? And you're not saying, did I do okay? But your energy is saying that. You're not going to get picked because you're going to scare the crap out of her. And she's not going to have any confidence that you're a powerful enough energy to put you into a big project. And let me tell you, when I was talking to Diane, she was like, yeah, I was going to have her work with me on this $8 million project. And she was like, I'm only going to do it if I can do the principal actors too. She doesn't even do just background anymore. So there's a real shot that if you get something good into her, that she could, get you somewhere, is what I'm saying. And again, Ken and Jim, you already know this, right? And Brianna, if you sent it in already, you probably know it. So the key, Miles, here in the preparation part is really your ability to commit to memorizing it, preparing it, practicing it, or rehearsing it as we call it, right? And then performing it. All right. It's not just getting it in your head, memorizing it, thinking you have it done, and then recording yourself and submitting it in. That's not what performance best means. And again, Diane is not going to write all this because she's going to put a general call out, because you never know, the diamond in the rough, right, could come. So she's not going to explain it in this detail I'm explaining it to you. But I think you realize it's as simple as, if I submit to her and I don't get called in 4 or 5 months, well, probably wasn't that good, right? It's as simple as that. So Monday is all about finding that material that's going to resonate with you, where you can show yourself in 3 minutes or less, not over 3 minutes, not even a second over 3 minutes. I'm not going to let anybody have 1 second over 3 minutes because you just don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. She's busy, right? You want to do what she asks for, 3 minutes or less. Performance best. We want to have it practiced, prepared, rehearsed, and then performed. Tuesday night's all about filming it. How are you going to film it? What's your background look like? What's your lighting look like? What's your sound like? Can you do your slate the right way? How's your body shot looking? How are your camera angles looking? All right. Wednesday night is about how to submit it. Is it in the proper format, proper structure? What should you write in your email? Should you write a long story in your email like, Diane, I hope you really like this. I spent 80 hours working on this and blah, 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 blah. No, we're not going to do that. We got to be really strategic about the email. And I would say it's going to be a little different from each person. Some of you may already know Diane and you may be on a first name basis with her. And we may personalize the email a little bit, hey, Diane, haven't talked to you in 3 months since X project, but I wanted to submit this into you. Hope you're well. Thanks. That's it. Short, sweet, to the point, powerful. Attach our headshot the right way. I do look at resumes and make sure your resume is the right way. You'd be surprised how many people have resumes that need work. Formatting. I don't know if Jim or Ken know about writing, but I have friends in Hollywood that work at the writing agencies. If you have a good idea, if it's not formatted correctly, they'll throw it in the trash. Formatting is very important.
I gotta say something. Bernard is right about that. I've seen some. You can have Gone with the Wind script, but if it's in the wrong format, they will toss it. Almost happened to my script. So my suggestion is get some Final Draft or a screenwriting program, and it will translate your script into the proper format. Format is everything. They will toss it.
Yeah, so I apply that to resumes because that's important. You don't want to have a great 3 minutes and a great shot, and then your resume looks like crap. We got to have the whole pack. As simple as that, right? And if you need help with a headshot, like I said, I'll help you get a good headshot. You don't have to spend that money. I'm not saying you have to spend that money, but it's got to be good. It can't be some crappy headshot. It's got to look what it needs to look like. It's got to have right lighting, and it's got to be there's certain things in that headshot. It's got to look professional. All right. The last part, go ahead.
Do you mind if I ask, if we don't have any acting experience, what would we then put on the resume?
So, okay, I'm not a big person that likes to make stuff up. Okay. So what I tell my actors to do is whatever we're working on in class, just write down that movie, TV show, or whatever it is, and then just make sure that you write down the Philadelphia Acting Studio and working on that, right? Because that way, if somebody asks you, oh, you don't really have a lot, what's going on? Oh, wait, you're doing this, and you just say, yeah, I'm training right now. And as long as you're training at this point, they, like Diane knows who I am, obviously, right? Like they know who I am. They know the studio, we've been around for a while. So they know that you're actually serious and that you're doing something, right? That you're not just relying on, you know, you think that you just have the best personality or something. Hey, look at me, right? Which is kind of what I was talking about up here, right? Egocentrism. Like you're not relying on that. You're understanding that this is a craft, it's a job. There's certain things that you need to do. And when they see that, they're okay with that. As long as you're following along in the right way, then nobody's going to block you, you know, like if you can speak and do the part and you look the right part, like, hey, let's bring them on. They don't have to have 20 different credits, but I just wouldn't make stuff up. That's not the way I do it. I just go out and get some experience and then put that on. But you could certainly put what you got with the studio. But like I said, again, I'm trying to help you focus right now. And this is the like, it sounds like to me, a little bit, be patient. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, like for 14 years, I've been getting people on sets and getting them paid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, like, just allow this to be a process and hear it out. And then you can kind of see, right? But worrying about like trying to like, hurry up and put your resume together and you don't have a resume. It's like, you're putting the cart before the horse. Like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, why, like, you don't even know what it is yet. Like, wait till we see what the heck it is. Then we talk about that. Make sense? Okay.
If you have old experience, is that beneficial or harmful to your resume? Like, for example, if you've done something years ago, like, does it make sense to put that on there, or would it look bad? Like, oh, you haven't done anything in a decade.
No, it doesn't look bad. I mean, you as long as, like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, we're not even talking about that yet. You see what I mean? Like, I'm trying to explain to you, you have an opportunity to do 3 minutes fresh today. You know what I mean? Like the you of today, for someone to look at you and make an opinion about where you're at today. What you have in the past, it's kind of irrelevant. It's not going to hurt you, you see? But what's going to help you is that you actually bring 3 minutes of power to the moment that we're in right now. 2022. Does that make sense? So nothing will hurt you from the past. Hey, look at some of the major actors that you know. They did like weird, like Pee Wee Herman. I love going to Larry Fishburne. He was in like Pee Wee Herman's Great Adventure. It's like, you don't even, like, your brain like melts when you think about that, because you don't think about Larry Fishburne sitting there with Pee Wee Herman in a bathtub doing weird stuff, right? Like, you think about Larry Fishburne, the amazing actor that he is, right? So don't worry about that, but just know that nobody did this yet on this call. So that means that you guys need to have 3 minutes that's powerful where you're at right now today. And that could literally like get you somewhere. Okay. So, and again, stay with it to the end, because you're going to actually see what I'm talking about in real life. I'm going to show it to you. So, the last part that I put in, actually, which is just something I think we're all more aware of, especially nowadays, is just your mindset, right? The psychology and mindset, because all this is great, but if there's no accountability, support through overwhelming situations that happen, or if you don't get the gig, or you're close, or somebody dies in the family or whatever, the self-doubt that we all go through, right? I have things that I've learned because I'm a big student of self-development. So I've spent like $100 grand on myself running around, everybody from Tony Robbins to like, Jose Silva and everything in between. I give you something to do every day that all my students do, that literally don't take it from me. Just listen to them, watch a video someday and you'll hear what they say. Look at one of the text threads, Carly out in LA just booked Home Depot national commercial. It's she's doing the same thing that I told her to do like years ago, and she's still doing it every day though. It's little mindset tricks that you got to do every day with your mindset. So I go through all that. So if anybody's having any trouble with their mindset or anything, every Thursday, that's there for you. We can work on it. And believe me, sometimes we think that we're good to go and we're a positive person, present company included. And then we realize, holy shit, like I needed some help. I just made up with an old friend of mine today. We got into a fight. We were in a hockey league together and we got in a fight, whatever. We just made up today. And that helped me. I was like, wow. I was like, it released like an energy in me. You know, I didn't even know like he was feeling the way he was feeling. And we just like, you know what I'm saying? You never know what you got going on, but you need a space. You need some time to allow it to kind of like someone that's with you that can be like, you know what, maybe you're not, it seems like there's more, like, let's work on that a little bit. And then you have a little space here on Thursday, and that's what Thursday is all about. So really the class here is it's basically weekly support. Monday nights, preparing it, the self-tape audition, Tuesday, filming it, Wednesday, submitting it, Thursday, psychology mindset, right? Now, over COVID, I put over 200 hours together of our classes. So anybody that studies with us, they get access to that. So you have literally everything there. I mean, I'm not saying everything because I'm not saying that I'm the god of acting or something, but 200, like over 100 videos of like specific like classes and like me talking face to camera. But that's outside of the weekly live support. Does everybody understand that? That's not, I'm not selling you something where I'm like, hey, watch these videos. I'm saying to you, when you have spare time, they're there for you, right? And there's over 200 hours of it, all right? The start date I'm gonna have for Monday. So next Monday at 7 o'clock. The first person in the class, by the way, oh, and this is important, your successful self-tape audition will allow you to be considered for every type of production on the East Coast, including film, television, commercials, web, new media, print, voiceover, because Diane does more than just major films too. If she sees you and you're good, like I said, you know, you're still gonna be in her consciousness, and you know, you never know what could happen. I'm sure that opportunities to do background will also be there. So again, shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon. If you get the 3 minutes done and it's done at a high level, I'm telling you, I'm willing to bet 14 years of doing this that something magical is going to happen. Does everybody understand? Because she is the one that is doing this. So somehow like she's the, you know, we got to look in her direction, and the other one is not focusing on principal roles anymore. Like I told you, and Mike Lemon is gone, right? He's not gone. He's in heaven. He's a casting director of heaven right now. Here's the questions you should be asking about me. If you don't already know me, is the coach getting stunning results with their students? Yes. I'll show you how. All right. I'll show you in a second. Have they been doing it for a long time, or is this beginner's luck? 14 years. Are there students from a diverse range of backgrounds? I mean, I could list all the, I mean, I've even gone into corporations at this point. You know, multi billion-dollar global corporations have hired me. Tokyo Marine, Freeman's, they're in Scotland in the United States. Tokyo Marine is all over the world. There's a huge insurance company. They've hired me, they brought me in. But the actors, I mean, like all kinds of actors from all different situations, right? People working like $8 an hour jobs at moving companies, from people that have their own business. Like I've helped all different types of actors. Does the coach have a crystal clear strategy to get you to the outcome? Let's rewind the clock. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. See it? Everybody, we start Monday and we got to get to Wednesday, right? And Thursday is going to help you if you got any problems. All right. Because the next thing is the support in their program hands-on, where they look at everything I'm doing to make sure it's done right? Or do they just teach me something, hand me some videos, and let me figure it out? Well, I hope that everybody, if you know, I made it clear that it's not that type of program. It's very hands-on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do you have support for the psychology as well? Accountability support through overwhelm, self-doubt, etc. to be honest with you, like that's kind of like one of the biggest things that I love is working on this. And I was trying to figure out a way to add it into this program. And I said, you know what? I said, let's just do it all on one night. So like we have a very focused night. Everybody knows they can bring anything in that they need to bring in and we can handle it. And let me tell you, sometimes our calls, somebody brings in like a problem and they share it. And then other people hear that and they're like, I had the same problem. And all of a sudden, just by you sharing and being open, you help other people and you inspire other people. And we've had that happen a lot. All right. And now here's kind of like the big important part to realize. Remember, we went to Diane Heary and we saw Hustle. You don't see Knock at the Cabin because she just doesn't have that title card up yet. I would imagine she's putting it up soon, but that movie's not coming out for a couple months. But Hustle is coming out next month. And this is JP, and this is one of my students. I was in your class 3 years ago, musician dude. Through the lessons I learned there, I auditioned for the role of Adam Sandler's close-up body double and got the part for Hustle. 2 months, all right? 2 months on Hustle. And this is JP 2 days ago. I did a couple of pics on set, blah, 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 blah. I have a couple of pics of that. I acted with Ben Aldridge, Rupert Grint, Jonathan Groff. I'm now eligible for SAG. All right. So I just talked to JP that day, and I just talked to JP today because he's up for a national commercial in Vancouver. So I'm going to help him. He is going to be in this new program starting on Monday. But you can kind of see how it all came back around. Does everybody see that? It all kind of came back around, and I realized, and I had no idea like I was even going to be talking to JP. I was just trying to figure out the best, most effective way as the crow flies, like last week. And then I figured this all out, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like the answer that we've been looking for to help people get to where they want to go, to clear out all the bullshit, and to get right to what needs to happen. If they can get this self-tape, this 3 minutes that's solid, it's going to help them with everything else in Philadelphia. When you move to LA and you move to New York or Atlanta, you're going to have to up the game up then. But when you're right here in this area in Philly and in Delaware, New Jersey, or you're even in New York and you're close to Philly, you got it. This is it. This is the thing that you need to do right now if you're serious. If you're not serious, then, maybe you want to try to be serious and take this serious, because this is it. I don't know about you, but I've been racking my brains trying to figure out how to help people get to this. And this is the way that I've come up with. And I think it's going to be a powerful way to help you guys. So providing all these things is the minimum a coaching program needs to get consistent outcomes over a long period of time. Any program you're considering should have all the above. So I don't know how many of you have studied at other places, and I think everybody's beautiful. I've had most of the people in Philadelphia work for me, to be honest with you guys. And I think there's some great coaches, great programs. I don't know if there's anything quite like this that exists with all the synchronicity and the specificity and the focus. But why don't you guys tell me and ask any questions that you have? Go right ahead.
How much are the classes?
So I decided to do a 4-week class, meaning like you have access to this for 4 weeks. So that is 12 classes, and that's $495. And
Okay.
then if you feel like you're going to want more, which again, this is you and your own level of your own work ethic, okay? You could get it for 4 weeks, and that gives you the opportunity to go to Monday 4 times, Tuesday 4 times, Wednesday 4 times, Thursday 4 times, plus 200 videos, right? So how you perform in that month, that's up to you. So I also, for other people that are like, you know what, I'm probably going to need 2 months, because it's good to know I can show up for class Monday through Thursday, but I'm going to need 2 months. So 2 months is $995, and it is limited. So if this thing takes off, right, and it starts helping people left and right, and it gets powerful, then this is like the beta program. So this is like $495. $9.95. I'm not trying to, build people out of money, but it's like all of my life, and I do help people, and I do charge $250 an hour to coach one-on-one. So, just think of that. I mean, this is a lot. I think you get a lot, 12 classes for $495. I think it's a very reasonable price, but the fact that it's specific, I think, is one of the things that would be really worth thinking about, as you consider things, like what's the outcome that you're going to get, right? Does that make sense? Patrick?
Yeah, that makes sense. By the way, sorry I didn't have my last name in here. I didn't realize that I had 8603. That's kind of my username for many things. I didn't realize that I had it, so sorry about that. I didn't mean to be
That's
unprofessional.
no problem, man.
Oh, and also for anybody who's seen the thing on the shirt, don't be offended. It's just no ma'am from my favorite show, Married to Children. So please don't be offended by that. You should see it. It says, yeah, it's my favorite, one of my favorite shows.
Okay, cool, man.
I didn't want anybody to be offended. I am not a misogynist.
Okay.
The show's just hilarious.
All right, man. I highly doubt
There
it.
is no woke stuff here. We are not woke here.
So, all right. Anybody
God.
have, who is serious about this? Who literally, because I know we've been on past an hour, so I don't want to like Tammy at the drop, but is anybody like super serious or like, you know what, this actually sounds like something that I probably should do to move forward?
Oh, I'm definitely
Anybody feeling that way?
I'm definitely gonna do it.
I have a
All right.
question.
Go ahead.
So what is your policy on attendance? Because during the week I participate in like dog sport activities with my pug.
You're cute. So,
he's-
okay,
Okay.
here's what I came up with, my dear Bridget, all right? So I've always been very lenient with people because sometimes people, we have some unfortunate events, right? There's a big family of us here. So sometimes people have deaths and stuff and they're like, Bernard, I paid for it, but someone died. I can't do any of it. And I'm like, well, come back and you're fine, So it is 4 weeks for a reason, because I can't keep track of anything and I'm trying to keep it going. And I'm trying to create a very powerful energy. For example, the fact that JP is going to be in this class, if you guys are serious, like you're in a class now with somebody who's got a speaking role in a major film. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it literally is a power that you're kind of getting into, So for that reason, Brian, no problem. For that reason, it is, 4 weeks is $500, 8 weeks. If you think you're going to miss and you need more time, just, buy more time. That's how it works. Right. And then after that, if people are like, I want to keep going, I think I still need more help, then I'll have a lower kind of month-to-month arrangement. Right. But you have to it's going to be a little bit more upfront because it's a lot of energy to help somebody who's brand new, as opposed to somebody who's been with me for a little bit. And some of my other actors, they're going to get this as part of what they're already doing. And they're paying that monthly amount to train with me. Does that make sense? But this way, it's like a one-time thing. If it works for you, it works. If it doesn't, you're done. You're not on any reoccurring thing. It's like you got an outcome and it's a very specific outcome. There's no other direct route to get there, my friends. There's just not. And like Jim, you're hearing this for the very first time, but you just there's no other way. That's the biggest casting director in Philly. She's asking for 3 minutes. You got to get it in. It can't suck. It's got to be good, or she's not going to call you in. Simple as that. It's got to be done right. So you can do it on your own, absolutely, but you could also get help from a professional that's been doing this, who has a track record of results with people. So that's kind of the decision. Other questions? But thank you for the
Bernard,
question. Yeah.
Can I ask, is it possible to join, not next week, but I don't know if there's a set time of when you can join the class, if you can join at any time, or how that works?
So I do have a deadline because I want to get a certain amount of people in there so I can get this rocking, So yeah, I mean, I don't know what's on your mind. What were you thinking?
I was hoping I won't have any extra money until June, so I didn't know if I could join it different class or something like that
So,
later?
yeah, I mean, you could do that. There's also like PayPal credit, you know, you can get like
Mhm.
make it, it's like a $500. I mean, as long as your credit's decent, they'll give you $500. So bam, you're in, you know, it's
Okay.
no interest for 6 months, you know. So
Okay.
as long as you can pay that off in 6 months, you're fine. So you don't ever, and it's hard for me sometimes to say this because when I was younger and I was getting into acting, I never let money stand in my way.
Mhm.
I just got another job. Sometimes I was working like 4 jobs. If it was like $5,000, I would be like, yeah, no, don't do it, right? Because that's a
Mhm.
chunk of change. If like $500 is like, do you really want to do this? Or you see what I mean? I'm not saying you, Jackie, that you don't want to do it. I'm just saying that a lot of times we're just scared to take the plunge and we look for other
Yeah.
reasons why. Oh, I can't, you know, and then like the reality of it, if you do the numbers, a small percentage of people, oh, I'm going to do it next month. Like that, it really never happens. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because right now, like all the energy it took me to get you guys on this call, 28 people signed up, not 28 people showed up. You know that, right? And you're not going to have this motivation. You're going to be off somewhere else. And then a month later, you're going to be like, well, $500, like I'm going to Bermuda. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll change. So I'm here to help you in the moment. And I'm like, yo, if you want it, like go for it. $500 is like, it's a $500 decision. Like you really, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at the end of your life, you're never going to look back and be like, that $500, that son of a bitch, I shouldn't have spent that. You know, my job is to just like help you make a decision at this point and show you that like, Jesus Christ, you really want to act? Are you serious? Well, this is
Mhm.
what you got to do. Like, and I mean, it's not going to be free because I can't, you know, I can't show up 4 nights a week. You guys got to trade me something, you know? So I
Yeah.
tried to make it affordable and tried to figure out, you know, yeah, I think PayPal's great. I have a PayPal account where I have credit because it's great to build your credit in a positive way. Don't, you know, build it in a bad way, but if it's for something that's going to strengthen up what your inner soul is kind of telling you that you want to do, then it's a wise decision, you know? And I'm not afraid of any of you guys spending $500. You're all capable human beings that if you need to make $500, you could make $500. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
If somebody's worrying about $500, it's like, you know, I mean, like I said, I mean, I have people that pay me $250 an hour just to coach them one-on-one. So it's like, this is like a whole other thing. Like you get 12 classes. And like I said, if it goes good, it's not going to stay at $500. The price will get raised because of the demand, you know, because I
Right.
just can't take everybody into it, you know?
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Anybody else? Questions, concerns?
What does the one-on-one coaching look like?
So you could do it all. That's very open. You know, it starts at like, you know, once a week. So it's about like, if you want to know what that means price wise, it's like $1,000 a month. Some people want it for longer periods of time, 8-week, 12-week, you know, that's a different figure, but we can talk about that if that's something that you really want. To be honest with you, I kind of like 8 weeks as like a max just to see where we're both at. I don't want to overcommit to somebody because sometimes I coach somebody wants it longer, and then I'm like, they start to kind of like, you know, and it's like, I would rather just commit to 8 weeks with somebody. And then that way we can see where we're at in 8 weeks. But the good news is like some of my one-on-one students, like my one guy, we're at the 10-week mark and he's gotten 3 roles already. And he already has a reel and he just started acting. So it's like, it's amazing because he literally has like real footage already on projects. And that's what he wants, you know, that's what and his mother was nervous because it was a lot of money. And his mother was like, who's this guy, Bernard? You're spending this money. Like, what the heck? And he was like, I want to act and I want to get it done. And we've got it done in 10 weeks. You know, we got him real footage, which is like, it ain't learning how to act and then like getting real footage. It's like within 10 weeks, we got him real footage, you know? So, yeah, that could be an option if that's what you're looking for to LuluPay. You can talk about that. All right, anybody ready to rock here? Is anybody pulling the trigger right now? Is anybody like, I'm jumping into the class? Because I can pop a link in if you'd like. One person. One person. You guys got to think about it. All right, we got 2. Miles, yes. Yeah. don't think too much about $500 or else you might never be an actor, to tell you the truth. I like, and because you got to put things in context. 12 weeks, or I'm sorry, 12 classes, right? That's a lot of time. 4 weeks, right? There's a lot that's going to happen. Your life can change in 4 weeks if you attend every class. Does that make sense? If
We
you
pretty
watch
much-
every,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say we pretty much have to like the end of this week to figure it out because it starts Monday, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Bernard,
Correct.
what's the best email for you?
philaacting@gmail.com. I'll write it in right here.
Thank you, sir.
The link is up. It'll say mentorship program. I was trying to change it somehow, but it still says mentorship on it, but that's the correct link to register. All the details are on there. It goes through PayPal, which is, you don't have to use PayPal. If you want to take it up the credit option on PayPal, you can go through that. But there's a debit and credit black button. You just click that and you don't have to even sign up for PayPal or anything like that. So don't worry about having a PayPal account, not having a PayPal account or anything like that. Did you get the email, Jim?
I think you can also do the PayPal Pay in 4.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's another kind of technical step that I have to take, I think, to put that on the website. But really, like the PayPal credit thing, like I'm pretty sure everybody would get qualified for $500, as long as your credit's probably over like 600 or something, you should be fine. And then you have 6 months, so that's like, to me, that's safe, right? Like that doesn't feel bad to me at all, right? It was $5,000, but that's like $83 a month, like 84, $85 a month. So as long as you have an extra $85 a month, you pay that off interest free in 6 months. But you just have to click PayPal credit. You're going to have to apply. You're going to have to put your information in. They're going to run a credit check on you real quick. But then you have PayPal credit, which is, it's not a bad thing to build your credit up responsibly. Just don't go buying, 25 pairs of shoes or hats or like, I don't know what do guys buy, like, lawnmower or something. I don't know. Just
I buy video games.
video games. Yeah.
Baseball
Like,
cards.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
nice.
they're real expensive now, I'll tell you. They're in the
So-
hundreds.
So I want to thank everybody for staying on. I just want to tell you, like, if you're serious about this, like if you really are serious about this, I know a couple of the other ladies that jumped off. Sarah's going to jump in. She just came tonight because she wanted to get it. A couple of other people are going to be in the class. Like I said, JP Migliano, who I showed you, he's going to be in the class. I'm here to help you. I've been doing it for 14 years. So if you get success, I get success. I kind of figured some stuff out since I've been doing this, for a while. And some of the best talent in Philadelphia have come and work alongside me, like some of the major actors and a lot of the great coaches, which I love and respect them all. But I'm here to help you and I will help you. If you apply yourself, you will get a result. You will get a result. I can guarantee that for you. All right. Because I'll just keep working with you until you get the result. Does that make sense?
So,
All right, so you got to go, but anybody, final questions? Anybody have any final questions?
I do have a final question. So say for instance, because I see that the classes are Monday through Thursday.
Yep.
So say for instance, like you miss a class, how do you gain that information?
Okay,
class?
beautiful. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to record the initial classes. So that's another reason why it is kind of imperative that you start, soon, because I'm going to record everything. So you're going to get like the initial kind of beta, like this is the ground floor. How do you find your 3 minutes, right? But as it evolves, people are going to start picking up how to find it. Then people are going to join the class, maybe new people, and they're going to be like, well, how do I find 3 minutes? And somebody that knows that is going to be like, oh, go there, right? And we're going to have all that stuff like right there. So right now I would say to you that there's going to be a recording, but I'm not going to promise a recording into the future for everything. And that's another
Bernard?
reason, yeah.
I gotta get going, man, but thank you for the information, man. It's been great.
Good to see you, man. Good
Good
to
to
see
see
you.
you, brother.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ken. So anybody else? Great, Miles, does that answer your question?
Yes.
So you have 4 opportunities though. If you do a month, right, you have, it's the same things happening every week. So if you do miss, right, you just have to come into that class and like, look, if you're motivated, you could figure out how to set up everything in one class. If you need more help because you're trying to polish your 3 minutes, then yeah, you want to be there every Monday. So you have 4 opportunities to perform and polish your material. Does that make sense? If you're
Makes sense.
really, if you really are like, look, I need even more time, then you got to get serious about, and I'm not saying, I'm not blaming anybody for this, but you got to get serious about life. What I put out is what I get back. I can't spend a couple $100 and think I'm going to get, like, you got to invest. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to look at this like, this is the first logical step that you make, and then it gives you a really good indication of where you're at and where you need to go. You could do a 3-minute in the first, if you do a month and you get a good 3 minutes, you could get that in there to Diane and it could be good. I'm not saying it can't, but you really have to work hard to get that. And I'll do everything on my end to help you work hard, but I can't be you, right? So if you really work and take the suggestions and you're polishing your material each week and you're working on it a little bit each day, by the end of a month, you will have worked on it for close to 30 days in a row. So when you press record and then we make sure that it's set up appropriately the right way, it's going to be powerful. It can't not be, because you did the work. A famous thing that actors will say, you know, you got to do the work. Does that make sense? But at least you know, like, there's no ambiguity. There's no like, whoa, I'm going to take an acting class. What's going to happen? It's like, no, it's very specific. There's a specific outcome. We're going to get into this class. At the end of 4 weeks, you're going to have something.
So,
Simple
Bernard,
as
are you permanently in LA now?
I'm back and forth, I would
Back
say.
and forth.
Yeah, I'm back.
I
and
was
forth.
just curious.
And the uniqueness about this particular program I'm doing, Jim, is that this is all about the self-tape in the format that Diane wants it. So it's, you got to be on Zoom for it. You got to be in front of a camera. So I can best help you guys in the Zoom format, you know, for this, right? For this specific thing that we're talking about. And in fact, if you take your life as like a broad, if you look at your life in a broad way, and you're like, well, should I be an actor or should I do something else? This might be the most efficient way for you to figure that out. Because you're working with someone who has a lot of people in LA and New York that are getting paid a lot of money doing it, that I've coached. And now I'm like refining my approach and I'm getting you to all meat. There's only meat on this bone. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no bullshit. Good.
Just want to say to everyone on here, I studied with Bernard years ago. I think it was in 14 or 13 when I first started classes with you. And he was the same then and he's the same now in terms of very serious, and the guy knows his stuff, and he's a very easy, even keel guy. So this is what you get, and he's going to give it to you straight. He gave it straight back then and he gives it straight now. So I just say someone I've known for a while that I give him a thumbs up. Definitely, he's right to you. So good job, brother.
I appreciate it.
And congrats on all your success. That's great.
Thank you, man. Thank you for
Got
that. Much love to you, bro. I really appreciate that. Look, I've always tried to do my best. I was in the same spot as everybody else when I started. I didn't really know anybody. I tried everything and I felt like my head was spinning, you know. I spent a lot of time and made a lot of mistakes. And I just feel like this is kind of like I've been doing this for 14 years and I'm like, maybe I'm ready to take a break. But I was like, there's something more. There's like one powerful thing. I know that this can make it good for the specific to the Philly market. And this is what I came up with. And so far, like, I didn't know you were going to be on the call, Jim. And I truly from my heart appreciate those words, you know, because you guys, you don't really know me, you know, some of these other people, you guys just don't know me. So yeah, and I feel like if you apply yourself, it's a done deal. Like we'll get you on your journey. We'll get you going where you need to be. Simple as that. You just got to do the work, follow the steps, But it starts with like getting this piece of refined material in, because that's going to make, it's like when you focus on something, focusing on this makes everything else irrelevant, right? If you put your energy into getting 3 minutes, everybody's going to ask you for this. Agents, friends, they're going to be like, well, you got any real, what, you were an actor, let me see you act. Like everybody's going to ask you for this. So this helps you get that. And it gives you a little kick in the ass, because you know when you get it together, Diane Heary's going to see it. And she's the biggest casting director, and she could actually make a decision that could change your life, like JP, like you saw. So yeah, he's excited. He's beside himself. He's beside himself. And I'm going to help him with his audition. Doing everything I just told you now is exactly what I'm just about to do to somebody that just had a speaking role in the biggest film in Philadelphia that just filmed Knock the Cabin by M. Night Shyamalan. So everything that I tell you now, I'm going right in with somebody that's at that level, but still trying to get even higher. So I'm going to be doing the same stuff for you guys. Okay.
Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Anybody needs anything, let me know. Maybe I'll send you an email to remind you if you want to think about this for hours and hours. Don't think too much. Like, don't think too much. Like it's gonna, like, if you just take this bold step and you just go for it, you're going to be surprised at what happens.
Thank you for doing this, Bernard. And I'm so glad I stayed on your mailing list. I've been on it for the last couple of years because I always wanted to know what was going on with you. And I saw this
man.
today. I'm like, ooh.
Yep,
So
me
there you go.
too.
So I'm glad.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm glad I
guys.
stayed on it.
Thank you for trusting in that and staying on. And I appreciate and love you guys. I hope to work with all of you guys. All right.
Yeah, man.
Bridget, I'm going to send you a link. Bridget, remind
Oh,
me.
yes.
I'll send you a link to my buddy who does voiceover. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You got it.
Thank you. Bye.
Guys,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
brother.
You got it. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.